Hi, my name is Shy or Shaye, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I usually discuss various topics. Some people would say I yap, I do, I yap. But occasionally I have started doing vlogs, and that's been pretty exciting for me. If you've been following this, my venture into YouTube, which started last year but wasn't quite consistent, I had mentioned that a lot of what I consume on here were vlogs. That's really what drew me to this platform. And I had this dream or this desire to do my own vlog one day because I've watched all the vlogs. I've watched the girls do all the things in their house, go outside, go to the Starbucks, go to the Targets. I've been there overseas as well. I've watched the Swedish girls, the Danish girls. I consume a lot of YouTube. So I always had this desire as a consumer of what would it look like if I did one that represented my life. And yeah, so the past couple weeks, actually the past year, I've been trying to teach myself how to edit and teach myself some discipline. And the past couple weeks, I finally was able to publish what I think would be considered probably an amateur vlog, but still, it's a vlog. It was storytelling in that format. It was a video log of my routines, and it wasn't perfect. There's room for improvement, but I'm just very proud of myself, which kind of segues into what my rant would be today, which is basically what I've learned starting this recording. Because when you're on YouTube, you hear a lot of people say, record yourself, just start. Doesn't matter if you have zero, start, which is true. You know, I started with zero. I still don't have a lot, but it has increased from zero. So it is true that just start. But more importantly, I think what they maybe don't emphasize is less about the followership and the monetizations, which is all things to aspire for. If you're going to be on this platform, it's something to keep you going. But it's the learning of yourself that happens. There is something about recording yourself, there's something about the practice of YouTube. It is what I've learned from the behind the scenes, not the end product, but what you actually have to do behind before you get the end product. There is so much to learn. I am not even scratching the surface of learning, from one, how you actually set up these gadgets and record yourself, which again, there's a whole thing. There's settings I haven't even messed with. A lot of my settings are just whatever came default, which is probably wrong. And then there is the editing part, right? When you then get your content and you put it up and you now have to play with it and make it visually appealing and storytell. There is a storytelling part that you have to learn. There is sound. There are animations. There is a slew of stuff, and that's just you and your content. Then you talk about not bringing your content to the platform. There is, behind the scenes, how do you upload? What do you feel? There's so many boxes. If you ever done one of these, there's like a ton of boxes behind the scenes you have to fill out. What's your description? What is your title? Are you hashtagging? Anyway, I could ramble on and on. But for someone like me, who I have said in past videos, my attention wanes, and I don't do discipline in the traditional sense. I didn't realize how much YouTube will keep me engaged as a hobby. It is such a good hobby if you have a personality like mine, because it is constant learning, and that's what makes it interesting for me. Every time I have to do one of these, I realize, oh, I could have done that different. Oh, that's how the girls do this. Oh, that's how you do that. In every facet of doing YouTube. So it has kept me engaged. Now it does require a lot of time commitment and effort. So sometimes, because I'm someone, like, if I like something, I will overdo it. Sometimes I've pushed myself a little too far, and I've realized, okay, you got to pace this. And I'm still figuring out a schedule. If you've noticed, I've tried to be consistent in the month of January. I'm testing a theory out. I will confirm next week what I'm actually going to do schedule wise. But right now I'm just playing, and I'm figuring out what days I like, when I like, what kind of content I like putting out. But the point of this whole ramble, because there's always a point to the ramble, is if you've considered doing YouTube, if you've hemmed and hawed about it, if you've maybe told yourself, I don't know, man, it just seems like a young people thing, because I'm not young, I'm in my 40s, right? And or if you've just been curious but you didn't know where to start, you didn't know, you were like, I don't have the background for this. I'm sure these girls know a ton about camera and production and I have no clue. My background is accounting and finance. I have no clue what I was doing when I picked up this guy. I just bought him from Best Buy and here we are. And this is the only equipment I have is the DJI Osmo thingy with the speaker. That's all I've used for all my videos. But I wanted to say, even if you're not trying to get into it for money, or maybe you just need a hobby, which we all do in this climate, in this society where there's just so much coming at us and you need balance, I highly encourage this as a hobby. It is fun. It will keep you engaged, especially if you're not really trying to make wealth out of it. Like that's not the pressure on you. You're just trying to maybe try something new, be in a space that's unfamiliar to you. Expand your mind. This has even forced me. Prior to this, I didn't really play with AI. And I don't use AI to create my content, but what I've been learning is it helps with, like I said, you have so many boxes in that behind the scene thing that you got to fill out. It has helped me with editing a language so that it's SEO optimized. So I craft my stuff in how I speak in terms of my description and my title after I've filmed. And ChatGPT cleans it up and makes it SEO optimized. So it's those kind of little tricks you learn that I really wish people who stress pick up a camera, pick up a video. And I do think, yeah, especially if you're further in life, you have a lot more to say. A lot of these sit down videos, again, are my life lessons. And there's a slew of them. I could do it indefinitely because I've learned a lot. I've lived a while. I haven't lived forever, but I've lived a while. So that makes these kinds of topics easier to cover. But more importantly, it's the fulfillment, it's the enjoyment, if you like constant learning, if you're a visual person, if you're a creative who wants an outlet that allows you to play with different mediums in different ways, try YouTube. Honestly, try it. And then, I'm get to the point that you're mastering those skills, the next thing that can motivate you is, hey, you could be like, I'm going to monetize this. I might as well make a little change while we're having fun, right? Look, I'm Nigerian and I'm a Capricorn. Money will always come up at some point. That's just my vibe. At some point, money will come up, because at some point I got to incentivize myself to keep going. But right now, I'm having fun. And I wanted to encourage anyone who's considering it, especially if you're like in my age group in the 40s, millennials phase where you think, oh, there's no way I could do this. Try it. You might surprise yourself how much you like it. That's, I guess, the summation of this whole rant is try something new because it might surprise you how much you enjoy it and how much you need that for fulfillment, which society these days, we don't encourage that enough. How much you shouldn't do things just because of the outward reward of maybe income or reputation or whatever. Sometimes you do things because it's like being a kid, you get that joy, that enjoyment, and we don't have a lot of it as adults. So that was today's video, was try YouTube. Who knows? It might be the hobby you're looking for. That helps. Anyway, gotta go. You can probably, we're all in the winter storm, so if you can hear it, that's snow on my window. Yay, we're all trapped. But, stay safe, stay warm. And, while you're here, watch some videos, get to know me. I have a ton of them. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.